Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom. Tonight's presentation, 7 ways why we think and know our way into yesterday. Why it's thinking from yesterday. And because our thinking all draws from yesterday and draws from memory and our subconscious frozen in time imprints. Memory shapes thought. The mind relies on past experiences to process new situation, making yesterday's knowledge the foundation for today's reasoning, reactions, and everything. And that's something I've really awakened to and pay attention to. See, when I speak inspiration, I never go into yesterday's desperation or anything. But something we do is when we start thinking, we're trying to be in a familiar place, and our comfort zone programming takes over, and that's where we stay. And if you really get honest and look at the world, we do stay in yesterday's, our ancestor stuff. We're always living in scarcity. And yes, I do. And that's something I've admitted. But the subconscious echoes from yesterday are deep-seated beliefs and reflections from past influence, current thoughts, and sometimes making the present feel like a repetition of yesterday and what we've already lived. And see, one thing, even as bad and shitty as something is, it's a comfort zone to the subconscious mind. It's not to the conscious mind, but the subconscious mind has a comfort zone programming, and it's embedded so many things that we have zero clue that's in there. That's where hypnocuity or hypnotherapy allows you to go in there and start releasing it. But the world has been taught to live in scarcity and poverty, and there's never enough. And if you don't do this like everybody else, you'll never rise to anything. That's a lie. That is the biggest lie. Everybody in this world has a sleek, unique talent that they can ride the waves of success on. But however, that talent, that sleek, unique talent, will never be on the railroad tracks of your subconscious programming. It's going to be in the whirlwinds of wisdom, the celebrations of life, but it's always going to be outside of the realm of socialized thinking and knowing. Why thinking makes my here and now seem like yesterday. And the reason thinking may turn the present moment into yesterday is reflection over presence. You know, we say, well, remember when we used to do this in the old days, and we used to do this, and I think the way we used to do it, that is yesterday's programming. And was I good at that? Oh my golly, I was perfection. I was a perfection program to live from yesterday. But now that I've unleashed my athletic imperfections, I'm okay. And see, that's the thing. It's reflection over presence. When thought stays locked in the past experiences, it draws awareness away from immediate moment expectations, encounters. It shuts off listening. Thinking shuts off listening. Spirit, intuition. Thinking shuts off all free-flowing energy. It really does, because thinking is an echo from what's already experienced in our life. And so that's why now may feel like an echo of what was yesterday, and it comes from memory. And memory is a lens. The mind filters new experiences through past recollections, shaping today's based on yesterday's imprints, rather than allow it to unfold freely. Why, that's the thing. When we start thinking, and when we went to school, we was always taught to remember. And what were you thinking? What was this? We always got caught up and was told what we think. And pretty soon that thinking becomes repetition, and that also creates insecurity. And a lot of people, I carried insecurity from education because I never really, my thinking wasn't like the teachers, but my inner wisdom was way different. And I had a higher energy, and I was more intuitive and more innovative than most the teachers. And see, that's something people have to open up to realize. Intuition and innovation is a sleek, unique talent of individuals. And it isn't always going to fit into the socialized systems. It may never fit into the socialized systems. And see, the socialized brainwashing we all experience tries to keep us locked in yesterday. And as I open up to understand this and admit it, because I have a saying, I think and know my way to yesterday. I listen my way to the penthouse. My sovereign activation rises me to my mountaintops of mystical, magical energy. See, we're all flowing energy, but we've really always shied away from it because it isn't in a socialized book. Education is actually a limitation. It's a foundation, but it's not an innovation. And I'm just saying, I just hear that thinking is a limitation. Your innovation is your chauffeur through life, but education and thinking is a foundation. It's like you got the oil road. You got the oil road, but there's a gravel pad underneath it. And the road base, that's education, knowledge, all that is the base. Everything above the road, the blacktop or the road covering is your autodidact enlightenment. That's a word I really am fallen in love with, is autodidact. That's sovereign enlightenment, energetic listening, innate liberation, to rise me out of the thinking, knowing mind. And I ain't kidding you, my thinking, knowing mind's got just a little bit of stubborn hard-headedness in it. No, it's got lots of that stubborn and hard-headedness. Because, we think, and then we don't want to be proven wrong, so we stay stuck in it. I did. And see, I always had a higher energy, and I had a little more willing to be more innovative than most people. And that scares people. And when you have that and you're willing to step outside of the boundaries, in the working world, that's not good, because they get scared, because most of them get that job by being very, very left brain thinking, and they never let their right brain entertain their fame and fortune. And why thinking and insecurity fuel anger. See, insecurity come from emotion, but it ends up being thinking. It's fear of judgment. Doubting oneself can trigger frustration, especially when we feel misunderstood and undervalued. I can relate to that one. But we're misunderstood, because if you don't fall into the mainstream's way of life, and you have a little bit of innovation, intuition that's outside the railroad tracks, and you're gliding through life on cloud nine, unwinding your divine, people are going to be strange, because even look at all the inventions we use today. Henry Ford told he was crazy. Edison, he failed 5,000 times, but he didn't fail. He just found out 5,000 ways that was never going to function. And see, people that don't fit into society, and we can say we're modernized and we can fly to the moon, but it's still the same. If you don't fit into the clique of society, you're outside it. And people People like to ridicule and make fun of people that are outside their comfort zone cloning. And there's a lot of that today, that comfort zone cloning. So if you're outside of that and they're ridiculing you, take that as a blessing, because people that ridicule and criticize you, they're jealous of you. You know, I watch a lot of things, and if somebody does something a little bit different and they ridicule and make fun of them, they're jealous of it. So when we ride the tides of trend-setting ingenuity, it dawns enterprising wizardry to decree we're free. But how do you allow other people's thinking and knowing to make you feel misunderstood or undervalued? Really, what they are is jealous of you. That's something I really want people to understand. If you're getting ridiculed by some people, that's their fears. They want to use ridicule and criticism to control you. That's the thing. If they can make you feel misunderstood and undervalued, they can control you through your insecurities. And yes, it has happened to me, but you know, I grew out, I expanded and rose out of it. Now it's more fun to watch them stew in their own little poopy doo. And number two is loss of control. Insecurity makes situations feel unpredictable, leading to anger as a defense mechanism against uncertainty. Oh, yeah. That's my favorite. And I was good at it. But see, life is unpredictable, uneducated, unedited, unrehearsed, unexplained. Life is a safari of energetic liberation, enlightenment, and sovereign activation. Because everything, even when we open our eyes in the morning, it's a whole fresh world out there to experience, a world of wisdom, optimism, rebellious love, dawning, and spawning spirit prowess. And see, that's something else I really opened up to, prowess instead of power. Prowess allows you to listen and maneuver through your day. Power makes you rigid and strong, but it doesn't make you have the maneuverability to go through your day with with energetic listening. See, we've been taught tough, got to be tough. Well, the tough isn't that. It's like plastic and steel. You know, we used to put PVC and steel in the ground, and what's really ironic is the plastic never erodes, but that steel has got a strength, but it rusts when it's in ground. Plastic is actually more resilient than steel pipe, but steel pipe is stronger, and that's kind of the deal. But it's like that. Life is like that. When you have stuff coming at you, you know, the toxicity of the day. If you got a plastic prowess, you can hold off that, and then you unleash your steel savvy. You flow through life with the greatest of ease, and that's the thing. It's about flowing through life with ease. But how do you use anger as a defense mechanism? I have for years. And I didn't realize it until about 2 years ago. I acted just like somebody in my family. But anger is a defense. Listening is a liberation. But it's energetic liberation and intuitive listening. It sets you free. You're just like a river in the summer flowing to the ocean of opulence. And, you know, and another thing is comparison. Comparing yourself to other people, being compared to, comparing your wealth to other people's wealth, that's a trap. It's entrapment of immaturity, insecurity, fear, and all the other gamut that go with it. And another thing, overthinking your personal shortcomings. Everybody's got shortcomings. but they're not shortcomings. They're showing you a path of enlightenment to expand, energize, and enterprise your movie maker magic. Because everything, all your shortcomings are questioning you to rise and shine and expand out of them. We think in shortcomings. We understand that shortcoming is a sassy hellraiser's optimism, realizing today's canny opulence, magically invigorating now born genius, streaming, I'm liberated, I liberate me from me. And see, when you start understanding shortcomings are awakening, you stop the resentment towards others. Because, when somebody has something more than you, I was bad about this because of my childhood circumstances, and I never give myself the credit I deserved. That's the thing. We never give ourselves the credit we deserve. And see, it was resentment towards others, turning self-doubt into external frustration. That's what I did. Anger and frustration, when you strike out, that is stopping you from moving forward in life. You think that, well, they're going to say this about me. At least if they're talking about you, they're jealous of you. Always remember that. The gossipers are jealous of your talents. Why thinking insecurity fuels anger? Fear of judgment, doubting oneself triggers frustration, and especially when you feel the misunderstood and undervalued of who you are. But the biggest thing is you feel like you lost control of your life. Insecurity makes situation feel out of sorts and out of your realm of comfortability, and then it leads to that. But why thinking sustains fears? Reasons why thinking keeps fears alive. Endless what ifs. The mind magnifies uncertainties, fueling the worst case scenarios instead of pathways of enlightenment. How does your thinking memory mind create just movie after movie of, oh, poor me, the victimitis crapitis that goes on inside you? Mine does. It did. Still does. Everybody can say this isn't happening to them. The difference is they understand how to make it go forward. But if you look for pathways of enlightenment rather than solutions and answers are a dead end. But pathways, you keep the curiosity and the inquisitive investigator within you alive and well to feel the enterprising wizardry of you to move yourself forward. And when you have whatever it is, good or bad, but when you have worst case scenarios, you have emotional reinforcement from within you that's repeated through thoughts about fear, strengthen fear, and narrow pathways that make the fear feel more real and persistent. See, thinking is like a woodpecker on a pole drilling a hole. It just keeps the thinking mind going, and it just keeps it just keeps that movie just repeating itself at a high rate of speed. It's just a basic overthinking. And now really the way to rise out of that is avoid the loop. The loop that keeps the thinking loop that just keeps going. And it's an over analyzing risk can lead to hesitation. All this stuff, when I was writing this today, says, oh yeah, I've experienced that. And even though if I say nobody, I can say I never got out of all this, but now that understanding it allows me to let go of the cognitive recollections and start expanding and energizing my free-flowing inspirations. But how does that overanalyzing risk lead to hesitation, reinforcing fear instead of challenging it through action? Action rises you out of fear. Sovereign activation with questions rise you out of fear and all your challenging ways of life. And one thing else, when you set a boundary, you're setting a new fear. You're setting a down the road fear because you hid from that situation. That situation is going to come back a little more prominent with a little more power and a bigger echo of what you've let go in the past. This is, this opened me up to this question. Why thinking is low-level energy? Because thinking relies on past patterns, while inspiration taps into the limitless potential and the unseen scenery and scenarios of your desired lifestyle. Thought loops often recycle known ideas, keeping energy grounded, while inspiration sparks fresh innovation and expansive action beyond the logic limits. See, thinking is within the logic limits of yesterday. And while thinking operates at low level energy compared to inspiration, thinking has repetitive mental loops, thinking often cycles through known patterns and limiting fresh insight, keeping energy grounded, and you keep stuck in a no-go mood and a no-go energy within you. And thinking is logic over emotion, while thought relies on structured reasoning. Inspiration flows freely through unlocking excitement and boundless innovation. Imagination. It opens up your free-flowing energy for you to listen for the pathways of enlightenment. Why thinking blocks intuition. Logic overrules instinct. Overanalyzing forces a mind into structured reasoning, leaving little room for gut feelings or the sixth sense. Doubt drowns inner wisdom. Second guessing replaces intuitive curiosity, with hesitation slowing natural decision-making prowess. And mental noises mask clarity. Too many thoughts create distractions, making it harder to listen for the quiet voice of intuition. And see, you never want to hear. You always want to be listening or hearkening. You hear outside noises. You listen for the inner flow of energy to hearken the intuitive wizardry that flows through you. And you want to listen and hearken the quiet voice of intuition, as now-reality wisdom blends thought with intuition, but it's now-reality revelations that blend with your intuition, allowing both to glide and guide you without overpowering the other. Why thinking makes change, heal, create, transformation, and forgiveness hard with minimal outcome. Thinking can make change, heal, create, transformation, forgiveness difficult with minimal results. Overanalyzing delays action. Thinking too much about the process instead of stepping into the sovereign activation to feel the foresight within you to rise your forthright frequencies of easy. And then that opens everything up to be achievable. Emotional resistance. That's what the change, heal, create is emotional resistance. The mind holds on to the past pain patterns, making deep liberation and appreciation much harder. when logic competes with emotional emancipation. The fear of uncertainty. Change requires stepping into the unknown, but thinking often seeks certainty, making the journey feel more intimidating than liberating. Liberation and expansion happens when thought shifts from hesitation to intentional ingenuity, awakens your trailblazer innovation to unfold. Why thinking is a silent thief stealing my inner peace. Overthinking shadows the moment. Endless analysis pulls you out of the now. Noise drowns inner silence. Mental clutter overwhelms the quiet wisdom within. Fear locks the flow. Worry hijacks spontaneity, replacing fluid movement with hesitation. Expectation chains the mind into yesterday, and the pressure to get it right disrupts effortless presence. And something else, when you open up to things, you can open up to the flow of your own energy, and that really allows you to move forward in life. And something else, thinking is non-communicative control. Internalized process, thinking happens inside, often without external expression, making communication feel paused or disconnected. It's a barrier of over-analysis. Well, thinking creates stress because endless what ifs. Overthinking fuels uncertainty, turning possibilities into anxiety. Perfectionism traps. Striving for the right answer delays action, increasing frustration and tension. And there's it's really about opening up to your intuition, innovation, imagination, and enterprises your moneyed up accomplished outcomes. Why energetic liberation, intuitive listening unlock mental clarity and fuels success. Innovation, liberation, and inspiration breaks mental constraints. Intuitive listening dissolves rigid thought patterns, freeing subconscious frozen in time representation of the past. This openness allows innovation to flow effortlessly, aligns your enterprising energy with action. And that's what it is. It's getting ready and feel the liberation. Open your present moment safaris. It's about being an adventurer, moving your life forward. And I want to thank you. I am Robert A. Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom, and may your life be as blessed as you are a blessing to me and the world. And thank you for being here, and enjoy your evening and your weekend.